This video is from 1927.
And there's a
98
photograph
years
in this
ago.
picture.
Share your
And
thoughts.
there's, while he was there he is with my mother. They're staying at this castle Götterde, and there is the old Prince Festitich. He was one of the many enormously wealthy families in Hungary in the bad old days. I think I'm right in saying that 10% of the land, the whole of the land in Hungary, which was a very big country, belonged to about 4 families. And all the rest of the people lived the life, really the lives that were led by serfs in England in the 15th century. There's the old Prince Festitich. They've all died out, of course. This belongs to an age that has gone forever. Now this is quite a well-known Hungarian called Count Bethlen, and he was a Hungarian foreign minister, and he represented Hungary at the time of the Treaty of Trianon. The Treaty of Trianon was made at the same time as the Treaty of Versailles at the end of World War I. But Trianon settled the fates of the Treaty of Trianon was the one at which the old Austro-Hungarian Empire was divided up, and these new countries like Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia were made. And all the Hungarians were very keen on going about in their native costumes. And so this man, who was a distinguished man, but he's wearing the correct native dress, you see. Now here the Hungarian lifeguards, rather impressive looking chaps, outside the royal palace. They have great big metal helmets. All these old pre-war countries, they all had their traditional guards who guarded the royal palaces. They didn't do anything, but they looked very picturesque. In the same way, if you go to Buckingham Palace, you will see a lot of our guards officers dressed up in their busbies and everything, just like toy soldiers. Now these films were taken, I think I'm right in saying, by my father's assistant. He had a man called Weber, who was his studio assistant, and he took him out to Hungary, and meanwhile he'd learned how to use this cine camera, and this is marching up and down. And the Hungarians, like all of these old-fashioned Central European countries, were very keen on feathers in the soldiers' caps, and you can see the way they've got their great feathers sticking out of the back. They're changing the guard, and you saw the colours being transferred just now. And this is the royal palace in Budapest. There were 2 royal palaces, of course. There was one in Vienna, which was the headquarters of the emperor for the whole empire, and then each of the countries out of which the Austro-Hungarian Empire was made, including Hungary, had its own royal palace, because the Emperor of Austria-Hungary was also king of these independent countries. I mean, Hungary, although it was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, was run as a separate monarchy, and so it kept its old traditions and everything. Now there's my mother, who always went about in that same characteristic hat when she travelled abroad. It's amazing the way my parents used to travel about. They never dressed up for the occasion. They always had the same clothes on, and my father wore the same artistic hat and a big coat that was always much too big for him. My mother always wore that same hat and that loose-flowing coat. Now this is a man called Bartzi again, who was a sort of equivalent of the lord-in-waiting here. And he was, here's my father's only brother, Marcel.